stitch up.
Haim's going to end up with his own gaming shop here soon.
Yeah, I've probably... How many PCs do you reckon, War Dog? I'm starting to lose count. Yo, what's going on YouTube? We are finally back with the best AMD graphics settings for max visibility and FPS for the new Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Let's get into it. All right, so first things first, let's do our Windows settings. So first we go to the search bar. We're going to type game mode and we're going to game mode settings. Now when we're in here, we're going to make sure that game mode is turned on to optimize your PC for playing and turning things off in the background. Make sure that one is turned on. Next, we're going to our graphics settings. And once we're in here, we're going to make sure that they're optimized for Windows games is turned on because reduce the latency. Make sure that one's turned on. We're going to find our Call of Duty file. We're going to click on the down arrow. We're going to go to GPU preference. We're going to make sure it is on your AMD graphics card. So for me, that is the high performance AMD Radeon RX 9070 XT. Make sure that one is turned on, and also optimizations for Windows games is turned on also. Once we're done with that, we're going to go up to the top here, click on Advanced Graphics Settings, and make sure Hardware Accelerated GPU Scheduling is turned on. You may need to restart your PC after this. Once we're done with that, we close out of that, and then we go back to the search bar, and we're going to type Update. We're going to do a check for updates. Now look at that, I have an update waiting for me to install, some security updates, so I'm going to download that and install. And make sure everything is up to date on your PC for the latest Windows updates. Once we're done, we can close out of that one. All right, now we're going to go into our file explorer down the bottom here. We're going to go into documents. We're going to go Call of Duty, into players, and then we're going to go into s.1.0.cod24.txt.0. We're going to open that with a notepad. Now, once we're in here, we're going to go to Control F, and we're going to type thread. And now down here, it comes up with thread count handling the job queue. So this is for your render work count. So basically you need to play around with this number a little bit, somewhere between 6 and 8, depending on your CPU. So for me, I'm going to set this at about a 7, which seems to be pretty good for performance in the game. Have a play around with it to give it some tests and see what works for you. Somewhere between 6 and 8 is generally the best number to put in there. And then you're going to go File, and then Save, or Control S, and then close out of that one. We're going to go into the next one down as well. This the same file name here, but it's text.1. We're going to open up this. We're going to Notepad. Same thing, we're going to go Control F, type thread, and we're going to find that thread count for handling the job queue and make sure that render work count is also set 7. File and then Save, or Control S, and close out of that one, and we're all done there. All right, that is everything for the Windows settings. Next, we're going to jump into the Call of Duty game, the new Black Ops 7, and we're going to adjust the settings in there. Let's get into it. All right, guys, now that we're in the game, we're going to go over the best settings that I've got for max FPS and visibility for the AMD graphics cards. So we first go up to our little settings cog on the top right here, go into settings. We're going to go into graphics to get started. The display mode, full screen borderless is what I run because I have multiple monitors, and I also like to tab out of the game when streaming and things like that. However, you can run a full screen exclusive, and this should ideally give you the least amount of input latency, but it's very minimal and completely unnoticeable, but it is up to you. So I run full screen borderless. Make sure your display monitor is selected. This is my MSI Mag. Make sure your display adapter is your GPU. If you have an integrated CPU with the graphics, make sure that is not on and it is selected just for your graphics card, which is my 9070 XT. If these two here are locked, you can click on full screen borderless, whatever it is, go full screen exclusive, change your refresh rate, make sure it is on the max amount. So for me, it's 240 because it's a 240 hertz monitor. And display resolution, I play on 1440. You can click on auto, but I'm on 1440. If you're on 1080, you're going to be at 1920 by 1080. And if you want to put on borderless again, you can click on borderless and close that one. Next, aspect ratio, we've set to automatic. Restart shaders preloading. Feel free to do this, and then you'll probably have to restart your game, which is absolutely fine. We've got the display gamma set to 2.2. Gamma and brightness, I have this set to 55. Play around with this one. It is dependent on your monitor and what looks best for you. 55 seems to be always the sweet spot for this gaming monitor. AMD Radeon anti-lag, I have this currently turned off. I will be playing around with this one, but we do have a setting inside the AMD Adrenalin software, which we are currently using, which is kind of similar to this anyway. Power saving, eco mode preset set to custom, VSync turned off, VSync menus off. Custom frame rate, I have this currently on unlimited. If you want to limit your frame rate, you can choose custom and then, change your frame rates as required based on your monitor. I'd say lock it in about 5 to 10 frames lower than what your actual monitor's refresh rate is. However, I like unlimited. That's what I play on, so I'm happy with that. Next, we got reduce menu render resolution. Bit of a mouthful. We have set to optimal. Pause game rendering, we have turned off. Reduce quality when inactive, we off. Focus mode and turned off. And HDR, we also have turned off as well. Over to the quality tab. Make sure you hit these apply to comply settings and to confirm as well. In the quality tab, graphics preset, we have custom. If this is not available for you on custom, all you got to do is change one of these settings here and it will be on custom for you. Render resolution, make sure this is set to 100. This is 100% of your graphics monitor that you're using. So 100% of 1440p, that's what I want to use. If you're on 1080, make sure it's on 100 as well. Don't change this, keep it on 100. Dynamic resolution, we've turned off. Upscaling, sharpening, we're still using Fidelity CAS. I have it set to Fidelity CAS strength as 70. AMD FSR frame generation, leave this one off. Don't use this. This will give you input latency, input lag from your controller to your character in game. People say it doesn't. It does. Trust me, I've done a lot of testing on it. It very much does. Ray tracing reflections, we have those turned off. We don't need the ray tracing to chew our frames. VRAM scale target we have set to 70. This is pretty good, especially if you're getting some crashes in the game. Make sure you have this set to around about 70. It basically uses 70% of your VRAM that's required for this game. So make sure you set to 70. Variable rate shading, turn this one. This will give you a boost in FPS. Details and textures. Texture resolution. I have this set to normal because I just like the game to look a little bit more clearer and a little more sharper, but more nice. You can set this to low or very low if you have a low-end graphics card. Texture filter anisotropic, we have set to low. Depth of field off. Decal quality low. Particle resolution, we have this set to very low. Basically what you can see over here on the right side screen up the top there's all these little particles floating around when it's like electric shocks or something happening. Over here, if you have it turned off, you get none of that. It's a visual clutter that you don't really need in the game. Bullet impacts, I have turned off. You can turn this on. It just about a 1 to 2 FPS difference. It's not really that big, but I have mine turned off. Persistent effects we have turned off. Shader quality set to low. On-demand texture streaming set to optimized. And we go to show more tab. We have it set to 64. Download limits off. The local texture streaming quality set to low. In-game video quality low. Shadow and lighting. Shadow quality very low. Screen space shadows off. Occlusion and screen space lighting off. Screen space reflections off. Static reflection quality low. Terrain quality very low. Volumetric quality low. Deferred physics quality low. Weather grid volume quality low. And water quality, off for the last three. All right, over to our view tab. We field of view. So play whatever field of view you normally play on. I've always played on a 120 field of view. So that's what I'm going to be playing on this game. ADS field of view. Make sure this is set to affected. Weapon field of view set to wide. Third-person field of view at 90. Vehicle field of view also set to wide. World motion blur. Turn it off. Make sure that's off. Weapon motion blur. Turn it off. I don't even know why these are in the game. Make sure these are always turned off. First-person camera movement. Less 50%. Third-person, less 50%. Third-person ADS transition. Third-person ADS. And inverted flashbang. I like to have this on because if I get hit with a flashbang, it doesn't flash bright white on my screen, especially when I'm playing at silly hours like 3 a.m. when it's all dark. It just flashes black at me instead of being white and bright. You can run a benchmark, which is a benchmark tool over here on the right. We're not going to do that right now. Right, over to the controller settings. In the controller, make sure it's obviously selected as your aiming input device. Button layer. I play on tactical. This is what I've always played on. Play whatever it is you need to play on. Tactical works for me because I got buttons on the back and everything. Stick layout preset default, horizontal stick and vertical stick. Play with whatever works for you, what you've always played with in Call of Duty. There's not too much difference. I did bump it up a little bit into the horizontal stick sensitivity for myself. Just maybe for it's a Black Ops 7 thing, but I just prefer it a little bit higher than the vertical because vertical is snapping up and down. Horizontal, I like it to be a little bit slower. Horizontal, I want to be a little bit quicker. All these three, off. Bumper ping off, swap L2, R2 if you want. Controller vibration, turn that off. You don't want that distracting you. Dead zone inputs, very important. You can test your dead zones right here by clicking on this. As you can see, I have zero, absolute no stick drift. I don't get stick drift on this controller. Shout out to Bud's controllers because these are the best zero stick drift controllers you get in the world. Left stick minimum, I've set to 0. However, if you do have a bit of stick drift that comes up on this side here, when you're doing the left stick, doesn't want to do it. No, still doesn't want to do it. Okay. If you do have stick drift and it's showing a little bit of axis differential on here, do change your stick drift, your left stick minimum up to a little bit, just enough so that stops happening and it stays in the middle and it's solid. Left stick max, we have to 60. Right stick min, once again, same thing. If you have a little bit of drift on the right side, down here on this right side one, put this up a little bit until you don't have that stick drift anymore. Right side max, we have 99. Don't go lower than that. Left trigger at 0 because that's the shortest amount of distance from top to bottom from shooting, and same for ADSing and shooting, same with the right trigger. Over to the aiming tab, sensitivity multiplier, click show more. The only one we change here is the ADS sensitivity multiplier. Put that on around about 8.5. Play with it a little bit, but you can go down to 0.7, but make sure it is lower than 1. Look inversion standard, aiming advanced settings. We will go into this. We're going to make sure ADS sensitivity transition timing is set to instant, not gradual, not after zoom, instant. Third person ADS is default assist. Aim response curve type, make sure you change this from standard to dynamic. That is how Call of Duty, it should be standard anyway, on dynamic. So hit that, and make sure you put that on dynamic, the aim response curve type. Don't change it, leave it at 1. Custom sensitivity per zoom, don't worry about this one, you can change it, but I leave that one off. Target aim assist, obviously we want aim assist on, even though it is a little bit different in Black Ops 7. Make sure you leave this turned on. And the motion sensors, don't worry about those ones because we're not using the gyros. Over to the movement tab, sprint assist. Now for multiplayer games, tactical sprint can be a little bit difficult, especially if you're pulling up your gun and then pulling it down. I just have this set to on. I go show more, sprint assist delay at 0. Sprint assist sideways and backwards, we have those turned off. Mantle assist, we have turned off. Crouch assist, I have turned off. Corner slice, I don't like it. It's where you bend and left and right around the corners. I turn that one off. Wall jump assist, make sure you turn this off. We don't want to be jumping against the wall when we're just moving towards it. It's super annoying and not very helpful. Combat roll assist, well, I have that one turned off as well. Slide/dive behavior. Now, if you like to slide and dive or do both in the game, you can change this to hybrid. This works best. I don't like to dive. I don't like the diving aspect in Call of Duty, so I leave it on slide only. Do not put tap to slide or tap to dive. Just put on slide only or hybrid if you like to do both. Sprint restore, we have on. Slide maintain sprint, we have on. Parachute automatic behavior off. Wingsuit activation manual. Wall jump activation, we have press. Slide/combat roll behavior, tap to slide. Combat roll, camera, third person. Movement advanced settings, let's go into here. We're going to check out sprint. This is all kind of default. Toggle off, off. Ground mantle off. Single sprint activation, we have this on single tap sprint. Make sure you put that one on. Plunging on in water, make sure you do this freely. It's much easier than using your triggers to go up and down in the water. And sprinting door bash, we make sure we have that one on. And down the very bottom, vehicle advanced settings. I haven't touched these. These are all default, so just leave as is. Over to the combat tab. Over here, ADS sight behavior. We have this on hold. Weapon mount activation, ADS melee, dedicated melee, weapon hold melee, body shield, prioritize finishing move. That's what I prefer. Armor plate behavior is apply all. C4 detonation, we are going to change this by one because we're going to blow up one at a time instead of throwing two. It takes time, and then basically enemies already moved anyway. Equipment behavior we have on hold, manual fire press on manual fire behavior on press. Combat advanced settings, and here it's basically defaults except for interact/reload behavior. Now, when you're playing a multiplayer game, you want to make sure you're not picking up things off the ground like somebody else's gun. So we're going to go and prioritize reload over something like Warzone, where we prioritize interact. So make sure we're prioritizing reload. Mental cancels reload off. Sprint cancels reload off. Akimbo behavior independent. ADS 6 swap off. Depleted weapon ammo switch. I prefer this. So if I run out of ammo and I'm shooting some dude, it's going to switch my gun straight away to my next gun. I have that one turned on. Weapon mount movement off, and weapon mount return off as well. Score map, we leave that on default. Overlay advanced settings. I haven't done anything in here. We haven't touched these, so leave it as default. And that is everything for you. Controller settings. All right, let's go into audio. So into audio. Game master volume, I have the gameplay music all the way off. It's too distracting. I have dialogue set to about 26, but you play with that one, whatever works best for you. Cinematic volume, I'm actually going to turn all the way off as well. And effects volume, leave that at 100 because that's where the footsteps are at. Speaker, Sage, headphone, game, sound device. So for me, this is actually defaulted to something I don't want. So we're going to make sure you put it on whatever you want. So for me, that's going to be the Artist War Tune at a 7.1 surround sound. Enhanced headphone mode we have turned off. Audio mix, I prefer Treyarch at the moment. It's a little bit of a play around because there's a little bit of lack of footsteps. We're waiting on sort of an update on what might be a little bit more because Yeah, there's a little bit lacking in footsteps, and we all sort of know it. So Treyarch Mix seems to work best for hearing enemies' footsteps. Mono audio off, mute game and minimize off, mute game license. I'm actually going to turn that on. Asymmetrical hearing off. Down the bottom here, reduce tinnitus sound. We have that one turned on so that the loud noises aren't as loud, like shell shocks, grenades, PAs or anything like that aren't so loud. Hit marker volume we also have on preset. Over to voice chat volume. Make sure you just play around whatever is good for you. Voice chat on, proxy chat on, body shield chat on, game voice chat or lobby. The output is going to be wherever you're outputting to. So if it's your headphones, you want to hear it, you're going to put that as your output. If you want it into like, I don't know, anything you've got going. Make sure wherever you can hear it is exactly where it's going. Communication preset is off. Microphone level, I have mine on 25, but play around with it. You can test, play around with this. And I'm going to probably turn it up like a little 38. There we go, high. There we go, on 70. Microphone mode on push to talk, but if you want to play in the game and just want to hear your teammates, you just set it to open. And then everyone can hear you in the game, in the lobby. And your microphone input device, make sure this is whatever microphone you've got. If you've got a headset with a microphone, make sure you set this to your microphone or your headset microphone, whatever it is there. For me, it's my this microphone here, which is linked to my Go XLR. And that is everything for audio. We're going to go into interface. Interface, menu prompts, automatic, tutorials, leave that on. Skip intro movie on, skip kill cam, we have off, we don't want to skip it. Tooltips on, telemetry, what have we got in here? This is for your FPS counters up the top here. Let's put on some packet loss, maybe some server latency. We'll leave those on. I've got the clock on as well. And that's kind of it for those ones. Readability, not too much more in here, except for color customizations. That's very, very important. Make sure you listen to this part. Color customizations. I have this set to default. You can obviously change these to whatever you want them to be in the game. However, color filter, filter 2, color filter target, put on both and set it to 100 for world color intensity and interface color intensity at 100 as well. These are important. These give it that bright poppiness in the game, and it makes the game look so much more visually better and less grayed out, pretty much. Gameplay HUD, not too much change in here either. Let's have a look through. I don't think I changed anything. It's default by a square map by default now, which is great. Radar off, mini-map rotation we have on. Compass I do have on. I might turn that off. I don't really need it at the moment. Crosshair lines. You can change your crosshair dot. Actually, we're going to put that on static because I don't like it moving. Crosshair lines on static as well. Basically, your crosshair is now going to sit still, so I'm going to bounce and move every time you sprint and move and everything. Something I found really annoying, and I know I've changed it. It's great. Crosshair opacity, where that is obviously 100. Crosshair color, you can change this to whatever you want. I use this kind of light blue cyan color. Make sure you hit apply custom color and that will be on as well. Hit marker visuals on, damage based hit markers on, and then these two off. Advanced motion control, I haven't done anything in here as well, so we're not going to worry about them, and we're back to here. Alright guys, that is everything for the in-game settings for the Black Ops 7 for max FPS and visibility. Now we're going to get into the AMD Radeon Adrenalin software settings. Let's go over there. Alright guys, now we're in the AMD Adrenalin software settings. We're going to go check this out and find out the best settings for some more visibility settings and to increase our FPS and reduce input latency. So first up, we're going to go to check for updates. So you go to your manage updates over here on the right side, and look at that, I've got some software updates to do, but you can click install all. I have this set to like automatically keep it up to date, so if there's any updates in there, make sure you keep everything up to date. This is where your drivers will be for your game as well, so make sure drivers are up to date and software is up to date. Now we're going to go over to the gaming tab. We're going to go to graphics, and as you can see, this is my global gaming experience. So this means that this is the same settings for all games I play on this computer. If you want to change it for just Call of Duty, you can go over to games and find your Call of Duty Black Ops 7, which should be in there, and change those specifically just for Call of Duty. But for myself, I prefer to use the global gaming experience because it just works for everything. All right, we're going to run through these super quick because there's not too many that have changed. Let's go. Radeon Super Resolution disabled. Fluid motion frames disabled. Fidelity Super Resolution turned off. Radeon anti-lag, now they'll have this turned on. I'm using this currently. Basically, I'm using this instead of using the anti-lag in game because I think that coming from the AMD Adrenalin software should be more stable than in the actual game. So turn this one on. I've always used it. It's a great piece of tech to use. Radeon Boost off. Radeon Chill off. Image sharpening, we're not using this because we're using Fidelity CAS, which is a sharpening tool in Call of Duty itself. Video upscale, we have disabled. Radeon Enhanced Sync disabled. Wait for vertical refresh rate, always off. Frame rate Target control, we don't want to use that because that will just limit our FPS. So we just have this on disabled. Anti-aliasing, we have use application settings. Aliasing method, multi-sampling, morphological anti-aliasing, we have disabled. Anisotropic filtering, we have enabled, and I have this set to 16x for the filtering level. So this improves your texture clarity. So if you have a lower end GPU, make sure you do set this lower to like a 2 or 4 or an 8x. I have it set to 16 because we have a 9070 XT, which is, you know, one of their flagship sort of graphics cards for AMD. Texture filtering quality, we have the set to standard. Surface format optimization disabled. Tessellation mode, we have AMD optimized. OpenGL buffering as disabled. 10-bit pixel format, I have this enabled. If you have it, make sure you do enable it. And reset shader cache, you can do this as well. All right, over to the performance tab, into tuning. And in here, I have a resize bar. We have this enabled. Now, if you do have an AMD CPU and an AMD GPU, you will have another setting over here. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's SAM or something like that, Smart Access Memory. Make sure you turn that one on as well to give yourself a boost in game. I'm currently running an Intel CPU, so I don't have this at the moment. But if you do have the selection, do turn this on and we'll give you a boost in game. All right, now we're going to go back into our gaming tab and we're going to go and select Call of Duty Black Ops 7 and we're going to choose our global display here on the right. Now this once again is your global display settings for everything that's going to be playing on this monitor, right? So for me, AMD FreeSync, I'm not supported. I don't need it anyway. Vertical super resolution, we don't want. GPU scaling, don't want. Turn that off. Scaling mode is preserve aspect ratio. Integer scaling, not supported. That's fine. Color depth, we're actually going to leave this at 8 BPC. Make sure that's on. Pixel format, we're going to leave it RGB 4x4x4 pixel format standard, which is full RGB. And display specs, you can see in here, it's just some information about what's going on here. Over to this custom color selection over here. Make sure you turn on custom color. We're going to make sure we get a few more poppy colors out of our monitor here by turning this on. So choose custom color, turn it on. Color temperature control we have enabled as well. Now these are all going to be set to default except for this bottom one down here, which is going to be your saturation. So saturation we want to increase from 100 to about 125. Play around with it, figure out what's best for you and your monitor and what looks best for you in game. 125 seems to be the sweet spot. It's what I've always used. I really like it. Use 125. And color deficiency correction we have disabled. And that's basically it. So that is basically everything for the best settings for max visibility and FPS for the game. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you please like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification to be notified of content uploads and live streams. We'll catch you in the next one.